Another foundational element is that of relationship with a missional spirit.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I talk with a lot of different Christians, a lot of different churches around the world, who the Spirit is just kind of the lost, the lost person of the Trinity, or the undervalued person of the Trinity. But he's so critical in terms of what we're talking about here, and in terms of mission and reaching the lost and making disciples. It's no coincidence. Again, Jesus said, "Go and make disciples," Matthew 28.
Right.
Then we get to Acts 1, as he's departing and sending the disciples to begin this incredible, challenging thing, impossible thing. Again, I read it once, but Acts 1:8, he says, "You're going to do this. I want you to do this in Jerusalem, Judea, Samaria, to the ends of the earth, but don't go yet. You should go after you receive help, after you receive the Spirit, after you receive the power to be able to go on mission, to be able to make disciples." So Jesus made it very clear we can't do it without the Spirit. We need his help. And it's interesting, that's one of the names or the identities of the Spirit, is that of helper.
Right.
For many years I wasn't sure about what that meant. Spirit as a helper to be what? Just a good Christian, good person, just to be good.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand that it's that too in terms of our sanctification and our spiritual growth, but really that in terms of mission, that I needed to be in daily relationship with the sender, because we see the Spirit sending Jesus actually on mission. Jesus didn't just go on mission. He was sent by the Spirit, supported by the Spirit, even on his mission throughout the Gospels. So Jesus, we could say, was dependent on the Spirit.
Right.
And so from Matthew 28 to Acts 1, he expects that same dependency, that we would live daily with his help, the help of the helper, to go on his mission.
Yeah. And you see throughout the book of Acts, the disciples continuing to wait on the Spirit to lead, where their strategy was always secondary to the Spirit. I mean, the Spirit of the living God.
Yeah.
One of my favorite examples of that is of a really diverse church in Antioch in Acts 13. But you see really uniquely, you see these names mentioned, these guys mentioned, but Acts 13, 1 through 3 says, "Now there were in the church at Antioch prophets and teachers, Barnabas, Simeon, who is called Niger, Lucius of Cyrene, Manaen, a lifelong friend of Herod the Tetrarch, and Saul. While they were worshiping the Lord and fasting." So again, that dependence, being together, being in community, depending on the Spirit, the Holy Spirit said, "Set apart for me Barnabas and Saul for the work to which I have called them." Then after fasting and praying, they laid their hands on them and sent them off. And so the mission is not just needing the Spirit, it's preceded by the Spirit. And so I think that's huge. If Jesus is telling the apostles to do that, we should probably pay attention to that ourselves. But I think there's a real freedom in being Spirit-led as we're doing, not just missional life or missional communities, but just doing the Christian life. But it's also hard because we have to lay down our control.
Yeah.
We said this has to be Spirit-led, not Adam-led, not Todd-led, Spirit-led.
Good.
And as we sit in that, it's going to cause us to let go. We must decrease. He must increase every time.
Let me give you a couple real practical.
Yeah.
So I've got a wife and 5 kids, and we help lead a missional community where we live. And in terms of motivation, there's many days, many times I don't feel like loving my neighbor, like initiating relationship with my neighbor. And so I need to pray, and I pray in those times. Spirit, give me the motivation. Give me, again, love for my neighbor to go across the street. I've got a Buddhist neighbor that lives right across the street. I've become great friends with him and his wife. We love them. They love our family and our children. But again, many days I just don't. We're tired. we're busy, we're distracted. And so I need the Spirit's motivation
Right.
to not only go, but then to continue to go.
Yeah.
So I think the Spirit not only sends us consistently, but he supports and sustains us
Right.
consistently.
Yeah.
So it's so critical that we're living in this daily dependence, in this prayerful dependence. And we're asking the Spirit for the motivation, for the help, for the encouragement, for the sustaining, for the strength to continue to love well,
Yeah.
to continue to serve generously and compassionately. We need that supernatural help. We cannot do it. We cannot do it in our flesh. We cannot do it in our own strength. And I see a lot of churches try to.
Yeah.
I work with a lot of churches, again, in different countries, different cities, and they tell me about being tired and burnt out and unmotivated and discouraged. And often I quickly go to this idea
Right.
and say, what does this situation look like in terms of prayerful dependence, Spirit dependence,
Yeah.
seeking the Spirit's help? I think it's really key.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think we can say, okay, if we're going to be Spirit-led, that has to be a spontaneous thing, or has to be in a worship gathering. But really, it's that consistent, sustained walk with the Lord, that we have the Holy Spirit dwelling in us.
Yeah.
And we get to be filled with the Spirit of God, the author of the Scriptures, living in us, teaching us, comforting us as we live on mission.
Good. I was just looking at it again. Ephesians 6, when Paul's talking about prayer and the Spirit. And again, it was a verse that didn't make a lot of sense to me for a lot of years, or I didn't pay much attention to it, but I do now.
Yeah.
Because in Ephesians 6, Paul says to pray in the Spirit on all occasions, or to pray continually,
Right.
like in rhythm, like often, consistently, and to pray with all kinds of prayers. And I've come to the belief that Paul was talking about really like missionary praying. So we can pray for a lot of things, but are we also praying, again, for the motivation, for the clarity of who to love and how to love, and how to serve them, and how to invite them to Jesus? I think we ought to be those kinds of prayers. Going to work, praying.
Right.
Walking through our neighborhood, praying. Going to the coffee shop or our favorite places, praying. Taking the kids, praying.